Hey folks, so it's time to take a look at the data sheets. Data sheets. So for the most part, what they're trying to do is they're trying to eliminate the number of books that we use to basically field an army. Right now, for my Ynnari, I need to carry basically 5 different books. My 3 codices, my Ynnari book, and then of course the rule book. So that's a ton of books. It gets pretty heavy too in a book bag. So what they've tried to do is they've tried to put as much information onto the data sheet as they can, just to make it a little bit easier. We'll probably still see some other reference material, rule books, and specific codices for armies and stuff like that. But for the most part, a lot of the information will be on the data sheet. And what I really like about this is you get the data sheet, you put it down beside the unit, and you know exactly what that unit can do. If a person's curious about the unit, you just hand the data sheet over, and they can read through it as well pretty quickly. I like that. It might mean having a few things on hand as we're playing, but for the most part, I like having all the information right there. And they really have put a lot of the information into the data sheet. So in the top left-hand corner, you're going to be able to see what the units. Basically what the unit type is and what their function will be on the battlefield. So here we can see it's got the troop symbol, so it's a troop. We'll see elite symbols, headquarters, or we might even see stuff like flyers. Whatever the unit's role is on the battlefield will be denoted by the symbol. Then we have something called power level or power rating. So this power rating will help casual games. Players basically agree on a power level that kind of appears, and once that they've determined what the power level is going to be for the game, they select their various different units and build up to that power rating. So that's at least what it appears to be for now. So for the actual stats of the units, we've got basically a Rubric Marine and an Aspiring Sorcerer for here. From pretty much they're pretty much the same thing, except the Aspiring Sorcerer can move a little bit faster. He's got a few more attacks, so he's a little bit more close combat oriented, and he has a better leadership. So that's going to be pretty important. When it comes to increasing this unit size, when it comes to casual play, you're going to be starting off, you spend your 8 power rating points, and you'll have an Aspiring Sorcerer and 4 Rubric Marines, and what you can do is you can change the loadout depending on what the rules are below. But if you need more, you can basically use or spend an additional 6 power rating to get 5 more guys. To get 10, you'd spend another 12, or up to 15 additional Rubric Marines for 18. So at least it gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect when it comes to casual play. And we're probably going to be seeing something a little bit similar when it comes to points for match play, but they'll probably be a little bit more specific for one Marine. It'll be so many points and stuff like that. Basically what we've seen previously, I'm imagining. We see what they're armed with. So each Marine's armed with an Inferno Bolter or Bolt Gun, and then the Aspiring Sorcerer's armed with a Force Stave and an Inferno Pistol. We have all the weapon information laid out here that this unit can take advantage of. So very similar to what we had for all of our weapons that we previously discussed. We can see ranges, we've got the types, so pistol, rapid fire, heavy, we've got pistol, assault weapons, we've got our melee weapons, the various different strengths, the AP. I'm just kind of looking through the AP, so the Soul Reaper's pretty nasty, the Force Sword's pretty nasty. I like how they've got pluses to strength for different things. I like that Force staff having that big of a plus. And then, of course, the damage. So it looks like melee weapons are going to be pretty significant when it comes to causing damage in close combat. Those things are that's pretty nice, actually, seeing that much. When we're talking about war gear, so when you're upgrading your unit, you're going to be able to swap out different items for different types of weapons and equipment. So very similar to what we've seen before. When it comes to the power rating, it looks like you can just swap things out for the most part. When it comes to match play, we're probably going to have to pay for things like we normally do. So we've got things like, it's pretty standard rule. You can swap out Force Axes, Force Swords for that Force Stave. You've got Inferno Pistols for the Sorcerer that can be swapped out for a Warp Flame Pistol, and so on. The abilities section, so here we've got some various different abilities. For the most part, they're going to have as much detail put into the data sheet as possible. but if there's certain rules that are going to apply to the entire army itself, they will basically have just a reference or things along those lines. So here we've got death to the false emperor. That's probably going to be something that's very common throughout all the Chaos Marines. But for something all is dust, that's going to be something very specific to these rubric Marines, so it's just going to be in there. And then of course they're going to be we've got stuff like favorite of Zeech, which is also in here too. So as we can see, the rules are detailed out for the unit if it has a rule specific to them, or if it's a very limited rule. And then, of course, if it's a rule that kind of covers the entire army. And when we have these army books or lists, these special rules, which I know they're getting rid of these universal rules apparently, but there's still rules there, and it's still specific to certain things, and there's still going to be rules that cover almost everything, mostly within an army itself. So that will be located in a very easy to find section within the rule book for, or the codex for the specific army. Then we have psyker information, so if there's any psychers within the unit, there'll be some details here. This kind of jumped out at me, and I was kind of looking at smite, and here it said smite for the psychic power. This guy only inflicts 1 mortal wound instead of D3, and then D3 mortal wounds instead of 6 if they have the psychic text of 10 or more. So it looks like some smaller psychers might not be able to take advantage of smite as much as more standard psychers. Then we have faction keywords. So this basically is the various different groups that this unit could potentially be a part of. So we've got Chaos, we've got Zeech, we've got Heretic Astartes, we've got Thousand Suns. So if we were to build a group to create a battle-forged army, those are the various different factions that we could take advantage of when it came to building up a force using this specific datasheet. Finally, we have some keywords, and this basically notes whether they're infantry, and things like infantry, of course, can take advantage of cover better than some other units. So this keyword section will be able to kind of help us out with that. So that's a lot of to basically talk about. It's a lot to digest. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about power ratings, and we're going to be talking about points themselves. So I'm really interested to see that. But for the most part, I'm liking the direction we're going in. It's going to be really easy to find information. It's going to be really easy to pass the information over to opponents so they can see what it is and get a little bit more familiar with the army too. So I think we're going in the right direction. I'm really curious about the more casual play and how easy it will be to kind of put together an army on the go, and maybe even I'm really curious about trying it out to see how it works. But I'm most curious about how the points are going to work. So we'll see how that is tomorrow. So with that said, if I've made any mistakes, misinterpreted anything, please let me know. If I left anything out, please let me know, because you guys have been doing really great at that, and I appreciate that. One thing for sure, if you have any questions and stuff like that, leave them in the comments too. I'll try and answer them. But okay, again, this is all my interpretation of things, so I'll try my best. But there's a good chance I'm wrong, because more often than not, I'm wrong. So with that said, I hope you guys are enjoying this stuff. I know a few of you guys have mentioned it, so I'm really glad to hear that. And if you do continue to like this content, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, so look for some more stuff later on, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.